Hello and good morning, MYM Insiders. How you doing today? This is Rich Harshaw, and I'm here for our Tuesday morning ad clinic. So let's get right into it. I believe we have 2 submissions today, and we will start with the first one on our screen. Let me see if I can pull up this information real quick. Okay. Let me see here. This is Bordner Install Group. So let me see if I've got John on the line here. Okay. John, are you there? I've just unmuted you. Hello, John. Earth calling John. Come into John. All right, John, I've got you unmuted. However, I cannot hear you. I show that you are on a voice over IP device, a microphone, and you may need to phone in and call in. All right, let me just do a quick check here. Okay, I've got a note that John is dialing in, so we'll check for you, John, in just a second. Meanwhile, let's see who else is calling in. Let's see what else we've got on here. Okay, Randy McKean, Smart Electric. All right, let me see if I can get Randy on here. Oh, wait a second, I got John very close. Let's see. All right, let's try Randy. Randy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, we'll skip over to you. Tell me, we'll come right back to you, John. Don't worry about that. We'll be right back to you. Tell me if you see on the screen what you have sent in. It should be a generator system's always on. Is that right?
That is, but I'm wanting to. That's a two-sided ad. I want to look at the reverse side of that.
Okay, right here.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay. All right. Tell me about it.
Well, that's an ad that we're about to use as an insert in a newspaper. It's trying to get people's interest. People are concerned about electrical safety in their home. Um, it's just, it's at new customers. I'm not sure what to say. That's just, where that's my idea to try to attract new people that are concerned about safety in their homes.
Okay. Now, is this going to actually be on the other side of this GE flyer, or is it?
That's correct. It is. They're on
Okay,
opposite
so
sides of the same paper.
then my assumption is that GE is going to be footing some bill for this. Is that right?
A small portion, yes, they will.
Okay, because if they're not, then I wouldn't put this on the other side. If they are, then I'd let them put whatever they want on the other side. They can put a picture of a flying monkey on the other side if they're going to pay for it. So, all right, let's take a look at this. Free 14-point electrical safety evaluation. So let's just ask you the 2 generic questions that we always ask, which is, what do you want people to know, and what do you want them to do? So what do you want people to know?
I want them to, I guess, to understand that especially in an older home, there are oftentimes electrical safety problems in the house, and I want them to be concerned enough about it to call me. I want them to call me and to have us come out and do a free electrical safety check of their home.
Okay. And how old do the homes usually need to be before they start running into problems?
I would say 30 years and older, which is
Okay.
common where I live.
What if I have a home that's 10 years old? Is it probably not that big of a deal?
In most cases, well, you're certainly a lot better off with a 10-year-old home, although there can be problems even with newer ones. I mean, as you can imagine, sometimes the electrical systems are not put in the way they should be, even in a new home. But the problems become much more prevalent after weather gets to them and age and just
Okay,
wear and
so if
tear on the
I've got a
system after.
30-year-old home And if you go check 100 homes that are 30 years old, what percentage of them are you going to find problems in?
I would say 80% probably. Some
Okay, and if you
relatively minor, some major.
okay, if you go check 100 homes that are 10 years old, what percent are you going to find problems in?
Maybe 15%, I would say.
Okay, so we're playing a really strong 80-20 rule here. If the home is older, almost all of the homes, substantially speaking, all of the homes are going to have a problem. If it's a less old home, substantially fewer are going to have problems. So you want to focus in on that, right?
For sure, I do. I also want to throw in that where these inserts are going are all in areas with older homes. There are virtually no or very few new homes in that area.
Okay, that's good. Let me tell you what a couple of my concerns are about this. My first concern is that you're running this on the back of the GE ad. The GE ad has this really high aesthetic, big company look and feel to it. And then on the back,
Right.
you've got this smaller company, sort of mom and pop looking thing. Now, you know, it's not to say that you should look like GE or GE should look like you. It's the fact that they're so different. It's a little bit startling. It actually makes your flyer, which on a professionalism scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to put the GE ad at a 10, okay? That doesn't mean it's awesome. It just means it looks highly professional, okay? Can you make the distinction between highly professional and awesome? Because it actually looks a little over professional to me in terms of effectiveness. I mean, always on, it's got this picture, you know, really, it kind of has a lot of things about it that are really terrible in my opinion. But from a professionalism only standpoint, it's a 10. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, it's for sure. It's very slick looking.
Okay, where would you put yours on that same scale, 1 to 10?
2 or 3.
Okay, I would agree with that. It's a 2 or 3. So here's what I would suggest that you do. I would suggest that you get this up to at least a 6 or a 7. Now, again, you don't have to make it a 10. But here's what we want. We don't want people to flip it over and go, wow, what is it? What? Huh? Does this even go with this? And then they see the Smart Electric logo. You know, I mean, look at your logo here. It's not really a logo, but okay, Smart Electric. It's very professional. We've got people that smile. And then over here, it's like, whoa, it's this whole different thing. There's an inconsistency here that's troubling to me.
Okay.
So that's the first thing I would do. I would just get the professionalism up. You know, I don't, this is, what is this? Oh, I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, I don't know. Did you ever watch the TV show House with the doctor?
I've seen. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay. This isn't really about House, but I did see an episode of House one time where he was talking about the differential of people who are married, and he was really troubled because there was this really good-looking woman that was a patient. She was like an 8 or a 9, and her husband was a guy that was like a 5 or a 6.
All right.
And it just bothered him the whole time. And of course, if you know that show, it comes into play that, you know, this is part of his investigative process to figure out what the real problem is. And it's kind of like that with this. You're kind of pairing an 8 or a 9 with a 2 or a 3. So we just got to get them a little bit closer, okay? Number two.
I understand. You're saying it doesn't look right to have something so professional paired with something so unprofessional looking.
Okay, so that's the second part of the problem. The first part of the problem is that if you're at a 2 or a 3, that's a problem all by itself, no matter what's on the back.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to get this up to, you know, I would say we want it to be a bare minimum of a 6 or a 7, and we probably want to pull it up closer to a 7 or an 8 just because the other side does look so nice. Okay? Now, here's the other thing. I like this whole idea. We're going to forget about the professionalism for just a minute. We're just going to talk strictly about the content, okay? I'm worried about the wiring in our home. Here's an inexpensive way to make sure your home's wiring is safe. If indeed this is going to homes that are 30 years and older primarily, because you've been able to choose those zip codes or neighborhoods or whatever the case is, then I would go and say it specifically if your home is 30 years or older. Now, here's what they don't know. They don't know that you sent this just to those neighborhoods, and they don't particularly care even if they did know. But when they see that and it says, hey, if your home is over 30 years old, now we'll decide in a second what to put after that opening statement, then they're going to immediately say, well, hey, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
And it's an unusual enough thing. Somebody coming to them and saying, hey, if your home is over 30 years old, it's an unusual enough thing for someone to say that it is going to capture their attention.
Okay.
Okay. It's not like saying, I mean, even things like, hey, are you over 60 years old? I mean, there's a lot of pitches out there for senior citizens. I don't know if you know this or not. Do you know this?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And particularly if you are a senior citizen, those things will stand out to you. You'll notice them a lot. Hey, if you're over 60, then we've got a deal for you. And that's okay. And I'm not suggesting that if you had a deal for people over 60 that you shouldn't say that. But I'm just suggesting that this is even far less common than that.
Okay.
Because how many other people in this newspaper are going to be calling out to people with 30-year-old homes? Let's assume for round numbers, none.
Right.
And how many times per week or per month does somebody call out to them and say, hey, if your home is over 30 years old? Probably
never.
Seldom. I mean, it probably happens. I mean, if they're getting, if they're in the same service area as some of my air conditioning clients who are calling out to homeowners with 12 to 15 plus year old homes, okay, you know, it may be seldom, but it's not very often. So this is a really good way to just grab people's attention. Now, I love the picture of the fire. I love the idea that people can see I'm worried about the wiring in our home. But I just want to start it with this: if your home is over 30 years old, and you know what, we might, do you think maybe we should go maybe to 25 years, or is 30 really, they're more than 30?
25 is fine, sure. I mean, it's hard to distinguish between the two.
Okay, if your home is over 25 years old, now, I'm going to just say some things that may or may not be actually what you want to say, but we're just going to kind of start the process here.
Yeah. Okay.
Your home, well, let me just type these up real quick so we can see them on the screen. It'll be funner that way.
Sure.
Let me get to a page where I can do that real quick. Hold on just for a second. Where's the one I'm looking for?
Yeah, but you're just saying, you know, since people have older homes, speak to them directly. Don't beat around the bush about it. It's going to people with older homes, and you mentioned 25 or more years older. That's pretty much everybody who's going to receive this flyer.
That is correct, but I'm about to sneeze, so I couldn't talk. Sorry. Okay, let's see here. Let me get back over to this. Yeah, so I'm not suggesting that this page, as you currently have it on the screen right now, doesn't do a pretty good job of scaring people, which is good, about electrical fires. I'm just suggesting that we can make people feel even more scared if they feel like it's more likely to happen to them. Because here's a possible response that people have to this, what's currently on the screen. I'm worried about the wiring in our home, you know, and then there's a fire. And I mean, it's very easy for people to get the gist of what you're saying, because the first thing they're going to look at after the headline and the picture is, guess what? What do you think it is?
Go to the very bottom. Look at
Wrong.
The coupon, maybe.
Wrong. The caption under the photo: 53% of home electrical fires involve wiring, outlets, or switches. So that's good. I mean, that's a good thing that they go there immediately. So I'm worried about the wiring. They see the picture. They see the caption. So it's really easy for people to see what you're trying to communicate. It's not that hard. But here's the problem that people might have. People might say things like this to themselves as they read this, and it's very subconscious, and they probably don't even stop to really think about it. But here's the thought that might happen a lot. Oh, well, but that's not my home. Oh, but that's not my home.
I would throw in that the picture of that burning house is quite a new home. In retrospect, I should have used a much older home picture.
You know, I'm not too worried about that. I mean, that's okay, but here's the problem. Even if they live in a 100-year-old home, and you say, hey, your home can burn down, and 53% of electrical fires are caused by fires are caused by electrical problems, the guy says this to himself: oh, well, that's probably true, but that's not my house. Well, I don't have electrical problems in my house, and here's how I know: because my house hasn't burned down. I mean, it's 40 years old and it's never burned down. Apparently, there's nothing wrong with it. So what's the big deal? Why are you talking to me about this?
Sure, some people would think that.
You know, one of the problems with selling preventative maintenance is that there's actually a truth that contradicts what you hope is true. What you hope is true is that people say, wow, the older my home is, the more likely I am to be at risk. But the reality is, the longer people have gone without having a problem, the more convinced they become that it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I understand. They believe if it's never happened, therefore it never will happen.
No, geez, yeah, man. I mean, I've got a really old house, and it's never had a problem, and so what's the big deal? This guy's probably telling the truth, but it just doesn't apply to me. So here's what we can come in and do. If your home is over 25 years old, and I was now going to type this on here. Let's type it on here. Let's get rid of this, make this a little bit bigger. If your home is 25 plus years old, so what now? If your home is 25 plus years old, there's an 80% chance you have serious. Now, that may be overstating a little bit because maybe they don't have serious, but here's the reality. Electrical problems are all serious because one small problem can create one burned down house, right?
Burn down or electrocution, electrical shock.
Okay, there's an 80% chance you have serious electrical problems that what? I'm not saying this is the headline. I'm just kind of getting it on paper. Could
electrical problems that can hurt you.
House fires, electrocution, or something else really bad. What else could be really bad?
Well, I don't know. I think fire electrocution pretty much covers it for electrical.
All right, we'll stop with that then. Or both, right? The worst is when you get electrocuted and you burst into flames and your house catches on fire. That would be the all-time worst. All right. Now, if you take something like this and you pair it with something like this, then people see that and go, oh, okay, because I want you to read your caption here real carefully, because your caption is interesting, but it actually is selling against what you're trying to say. 53% of electrical fires involve the wiring outlets or switches.
Right.
And people read that and they would say, well, okay, that's probably true. But again, remember the same thought as last time, but that's not me.
Right.
So I might come in there and put something like, let's see, if your home is over 25 years old, electrical fire risk I think people are probably more worried about fires than electrocution. Is that probably true?
Yeah, it's certainly much more common, and it's people, especially women, seem to have just a real basic fear of it. I mean, they see pictures, you read in the TV news, house on fires. It's commonly on people's minds.
Just playing with some words here. Electric fire risk is high if your home is over 25 years old.
All right.
Electrical. Now let's go back over to our other sheet and let's try this out a little bit. Electric fire. I don't like the way this sounds, but we're going to work with it. Risk is high if your home is over 25 years old. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can play with it here. Okay, electric fire risk. Beware of
electrical fires.
Electrical house fires if your home is over 25 years. Beware of electrical house fires if your home is 25 years old. Now, I don't know that this is exactly the way I want to say it, but I'm kind of starting to hone in on it, okay?
Okay, all right.
Let's copy it and let's try one more time. If your home is over 25 years old, you are at risk of electrical house fires.
You're
You know, something like this. If your home is over 25 years old, you are
at risk of an electrical house fire.
you're an extreme risk. I like extreme, you know? I mean, it's not just a risk. Maybe that's too much.
Extreme will catch their attention.
You're at risk for an electrical house fire, something like this. Now, if we go back over to your deal here, and we put it in this red section, again, we're going to clean up the way that it looks and feels, remember?
Okay.
But, so we come in here and we put that headline, we put the same picture, and then in the caption, we put 80% of older homes. Now, we don't have to say 25 years again, right? Because we've already said it.
Right.
80% of older homes have problems. Let's put the word electrical problems. Electrical problems. Let's use the word unsolved. Unsolved, or let's use this word dangerous. Electrical problems.
Maybe you could say unseen electrical problems.
80% of older homes have dangerous electrical problems, unseen. I like unseen. Unseen electrical problems right now.
Right.
Common, I'm still writing on the caption here. I know it's going to be a little bit longer. Common sources are wiring, outlets, and switches. The most common sources are, no, hang on. Most fires are caused by common wiring, outlets. Okay, so check this out. We'll come down here and we'll type it up here. 80%, 82% of older homes have unseen problems right now. Most fires are caused by common wiring, outlets, and switches. Now, here's what I just did. Here's what I just attempted to do. That goes under the photo, okay?
I understand, okay.
What I've just attempted to do is I've tried to flip this whole situation around from their response being, well, that's probably true, but that's not me, to, well, I never really thought about it, but crap, that sounds like me.
Right.
Okay, if your home is over 25 years old, you're at risk for an electrical house fire. 82% of older homes have unseen problems right now. Okay, geez, my home is older, 82%. That's probably me. Most fires are caused by common wiring, outlets, and switches. Now, look what I just did very cleverly with that last phrase. I made it sound like the threat is right under their nose, and I've acknowledged in the way that I phrased this that it's stuff that you wouldn't consider normally and you wouldn't even think about. Most fires are caused by what?
Yeah, they're just the normal things everybody has in their house.
Common stuff. So now they look over at their light switch and they're like, crap, it's going to blow up on me. See, I've put this fear in them of stuff that they didn't realize before. So your ad, I think, I mean, I don't want you to take away from this, hey, I submitted a terrible ad. I don't think you submitted a terrible ad at all, because I think it does a really good job of making people go, wow, this is a problem. But
Yeah.
I think it allows people to rationalize that it's probably not their problem. And I'm trying to reverse that and let them say, no, this is your problem. Now, the next thing I would
what
do,
you've written, you're making it apply to every common person. Anybody who reads that has an older home, that applies to them.
I would flip-flop some of this text. So I would put in this upper left-hand corner, this upper left-hand section here where it says my sister came real close.
Right.
I would put a couple of paragraphs of text telling more of my story, and then I would put the testimonial, kind of story about losing the home. I would put it down under here. So I kind of flip-flop this a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so this is we're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of all this.
So by flip-flopping, you're saying take this part that's down below that offers them a solution to their problem and put that up on the top.
I don't want to offer them a solution yet. I want to further describe the problem.
Okay.
Okay? So here's what they know right now if they see what's on the screen right now. They see the photo of the house fire, which is very interesting because it gets their attention, right? So that's good.
Right.
In fact, just to be fun here, okay, I got a little tool here to allow me to grab that guy. Okay. I want you to see it, okay? All right, so let's see that too, okay?
Okay.
If your home is over 25 years old, you're at risk for an electrical house fire. 82% of older homes have unseen problems right now. Most fires are caused by common wiring, outlets, and switches. It's true, and most people don't even realize it. The biggest cause of house fires is faulty electric. Is that true or not true? I don't know if it's true or not. I'm making it up.
No, I think probably the biggest cause is home cooking on the stove. You could say a major cause.
The second biggest cause of house fires behind cooking is faulty electric. I mean, just telling the truth. It doesn't matter. It's not like people go, well, okay, well, if it's not as big of a threat as cooking, then I'm not interested anymore. It's faulty electric. And the problem and the threat, risk, I don't know which word we want to choose, is amplified by up to 20 to 30 times as your home ages. In fact,
Right.
Homes over 25 years old account for over, I don't want to say that. I don't want to get into too many steps. Count.
Yeah, in the United States, homes over 25 years old, I would say, are probably at least 75% of them
Have 10 times the risk of fire.
Okay.
Clearly, it's true. And most people don't even realize it. It's true. Your house could burn down at any time.
Right.
If your home is old, it could burn down at any time. And most people don't even realize it. The second biggest cause of house fires on cooking is faulty electric, and the threat is amplified by up to 20, 30 times as your home ages. This is a real risk, and one that is easy to avoid.
Right.
How do you avoid it?
Well, the first thing I would start off with is having an electrician that knows what the heck he's doing. Go through, spend an hour or two in your house just finding out where the problems might be. And like I say, I would always say to anyone, in some cases, you may have a home that doesn't have problems, and we would certainly tell you that. But most homes do have problems. How do you avoid it? Find the problem, and depending on what the problem is, take the right steps to fix it.
See, one thing I don't like about this is I don't like that you're introducing this solution of this arc fault circuit interrupter breaker. I don't like that.
Right. Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because nobody knows what it is. Nobody understands what it does or how it works or how it lowers the risk. And everybody looks at it and thinks, well, if it's really wiring outlets and switches, then how in the heck is that thing going to fix anything? Because don't you have to change out all the switches and wiring? That's what they're thinking.
No, you actually don't. But
well, yeah, but I don't know that.
yeah, true.
That's what I'm thinking. So
Okay.
I think we should just stick with stuff that people can understand. Now, if you come in and you put in an arc fault circuit interrupter breaker, great, whatever. And you can explain it to them. Look, here's what we're going to do, and here's why we're going to do it.
Sure.
But I think that there's just a sufficient amount of understanding of, hey, old stuff it breaks down, and electric stuff is dangerous, and there's a picture of a house on fire, and okay, that probably could happen. So people are going to look at it and go, okay, I got it. What you're saying is that my home is old, there's a risk of fire, and what I need to do is have someone come check it out.
Yeah, that's simple to the point.
And people are going to go, oh, yeah, okay, I think I'll have you come check it out. We'll come check it out. We'll give you an idea of what the problems are. We'll pinpoint hot spots, no pun intended, but sort of. We'll let you know what needs to happen. The fact is, about 20% of homes don't need any work done at all. They're fine. Another 30% of homes need minor repair work. Doesn't take long at all, but the risk reduction is tremendous. And about 30% of homes need some significant work, and it costs a little bit of money. But, you can't put off spending money on electrical work because it costs too much. Because the cost of not doing it is too dangerous.
Right.
Now, let's walk through that last little part, and then we'll kind of send you on your way here because we'll get back over to John.
Right.
So here's the question. What % of homes don't need any work at all?
Older homes, roughly. I would say probably 20%, maybe less, 15.
No work. Okay. What percentage of homes do you think need less than $200 worth of work?
Likewise, the 15 to 20% of homes.
Okay, good. What percent, and I'm not holding you to these numbers, we're just kind of taking a very informal poll. What percentage probably need $200 to $500 of work?
I don't know, another 15%.
Okay, and the rest need over $500 of work, right?
They do.
Okay, how many percent need over $1,000 worth of work?
In homes that age, that would be fairly common. I'd say half of them.
Okay, so I'm going to redo your numbers here. I'm going to say that 20% don't need any work. 20% need a couple $100 or less.
Yeah, you could say minor work.
Another 20% probably need a couple $100 up to $1,000, and then another 40 or 50% on top of that need over $1,000 worth of work, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, this is one of those things where you don't really have to be shy about saying, look, it's going to cost some money. I mean, you tell me, you're in these people's homes every day. When you go into somebody's home and say, look, you've got a threat of an electrical problem, they don't say, well, I've got something else I've got to fix first. I'm not going to get around to that until later.
Yeah.
They say, fix it.
Yeah. People
How much is it going to cost to fix? Well, it's going to be $1,100. Now, they don't like that, and they might get upset, and they might cuss you out because you're the messenger, but at the end of the day, they do it, right? It's like a broken down car. People cuss and scream at the mechanic all day long, but the fact is, if my car's not working, I can't get to work, and I'm screwed, right?
Sure. It's their car, their house.
And if my electrical's broken, and if it burns down, not only am I screwed, I'm dead. So, we've got lots of incentive to do the work. But what I want to do is I want to be able to show people that, hey, we're going to give you this free inspection, and here's what we normally find. Just tell them right up front, because you know what? This is going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge, because what you're going to do is you're going to start to price condition people right there in the ad. So now, let's say that a guy sees this. Here's what we normally find. 20% on older homes.
Right.
20% need no work done at all. Good news. 20% need minor work that costs less than $100 or $200.
Okay.
No problem. 20% need, now what do we call this?
I don't know, significant work. Need changes to make the house safe.
Now, here's what I want to do. I'm going to manipulate these numbers a little bit to make them look a little better if you're okay.
Right.
Something like that. Now, we need to come back and make these numbers look a little bit like this. I think I'm going to put it like this. Because now we've got 30%, we got 50% that need nothing or just a little bit. So I want people to feel like they got a pretty good chance of not having to pay a lot of money. But I also like this because now when people see this and you come out to their home and you say, look, I'm sorry, but you know, you've got some pretty expensive stuff that needs to be done here. It's going to be $700. In their mind, guess what they're going to say? Well, he did tell me that up front, and well, it's better than dying. Right?
Yeah, as you say, they're price conditioned.
Free inspection is the first step. Blah, blah, blah. Come out. How long does it take?
Oh, it takes, I'd say about an hour, hour and a half.
Takes about an hour. Will you give them a full report?
Most definitely. By the time we're done, we'll know everything good or bad electrically in that house.
Here's what we normally find. Just a little bit smaller. Here's what we normally find. 20% need no work at all. Congratulations. 30% need minor work that costs less than $200. At least you know.
Right.
20% needs moderate work that requires as much as several $100s. At least you know.
Right.
I'm going to change this one back over here to now you can address it. At least you know. 30% need extensive work that requires as much as $1,000 plus. Delay will put you in harm's way. I mean, people don't care where they're at. They just care that they're not dead. I've found this thing out in life. People hate to be dead. It's one of the things they hate more than anything else. I mean, you will see people do the craziest things to avoid being dead.
Yeah, dead, and just, of course, oftentimes people generally don't die in electrical fires, but it certainly damages the home, and it's just really an awful thing to have happen to you.
You are in immediate danger. Okay. See, this is how we get people to say, you know, it's the free inspection. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, no, I like it. It speaks to what people care about.
We'll come out and check 14 different aspects of your home's electric. Can you call it electric system?
Yeah, for sure. Electrical system.
System. It only takes about an hour. And we'll give you a full report of what we find, good and bad, electrically in your house. We normally charge, what do you normally charge, $99?
No, full inspection is $212.
$212. But we are offering it free to the first 25 who respond. I don't want that number again. 20 who respond. We have limited capacity. Call now.
Yeah, I know that the idea of limited availability makes people want it more.
Yeah, things that you can't have if you want more. Okay, so this would be what I would put up there, and then below this you can put, you know, the story about your sister or whatever it is, and, you know, blah blah blah. But I would probably just remove all this stuff about.
I understand.
This really here isn't really helping anything.
Yeah, it's just confusing them.
Yeah. So then I would also restate it with this coupon, you know, free 14-point electrical values, don't delay, you know, limited availability, first 20 only, call now, don't die.
Right.
Don't die in a fire.com.
That might be pushing a little bit, Rich. I don't know.
Yeah, you get the idea, though. So that's what I would do. You may want to reach over to Dale in our office and just say, hey, I might need some help with some professional design on this. I don't know what your timing is. We're a little bit backed up, but he can work that out with you. I don't really know.
For sure.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Randy. Good to talk to you again.
Okay, well, I much appreciate your help. It's a great ad.
Hey, and I'll email this to you on the back end, okay?
That'd be fine.
All right.
All
bye-bye.
right. Talk to you soon.
Okay, now after that delay, we'll get over to John. Oh, yeah. Somebody was going to tell me that you couldn't see what was on my screen. Here's all the stuff that was on the screen. Sorry about that. I'll let you look at it for a second while I go over here to John. John, you with me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Doing good.
I was just looking at some of your radio ads yesterday, coincidentally. Yeah. Yeah, I was writing some ads for another company in a different state that was a window company, and I thought, well, let me go see some other stuff. And I looked at yours for a few minutes. And then there you were on the call today. Let's see what we've got for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get back more on more of these calls now that I have the website somewhat squared away.
Okay, I've got two things here. Is this a front and a back, or just two fronts? What do we got here?
It should be a front and a back. One of them.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I think maybe one file accidentally actually had both.
Okay, amazing window and door sale, the biggest savings in 2 years. Replace your windows now. This is in Colorado, I hope, not in Kansas City.
Yeah, it's Colorado.
Otherwise, we got these random mountains.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we got here? Tell me about this.
Well, we're really pushing windows in Colorado right now. We're trying some new things to get customers in. We actually have a guy working with us that was the sales manager, I guess, at Anderson Renewal for, I guess, 20-some years, and so he's bringing his expertise to the table, and he helped us design this piece here.
Okay, and this is a postcard, and you're going to mail it to who and how often and how many and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is the oversized card that's a little bit bigger than an 8x11 sheet of paper, and folded in half.
Okay, so this is an 11 by 14, right?
Yes, 11 by 14.
That makes sense because that's what those renewal guys love to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, hold one right there.
This is based off of obviously off of some renewal stuff. So,
okay,
yeah, we're going
first comment on that is if this is an 11 by 14, you're allowing way more space than you need to for the mailing address area.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's just wasted real estate for no reason. So we'll work through that. Keep going though.
Gotcha. So we're going to be sending this to a lot of our typical segmentation, which is homes 15 years or older that might need replacement windows, more affluent homeowners, $300,000 and up home value, then of course homeowners and things like that, non-multifamily dwellings, all that typical stuff.
Right.
And we'll be sending this out every week. What we did was we segmented our mailing out to all the places we wanted to hit, and then we rotate those to where each area will get hit twice during a 6-week campaign.
Okay. 2 times during 6 weeks.
Yes.
With the same postcard twice, is that right?
What's that? Same place twice? Yes.
No, same postcard twice.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the front, and then this is the back? No? What? Tell me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. That'll be the inside. It's folded in half, so this will be the inside.
Why will it be folded in half?
I don't know. That's how they said they were going to do it.
The postcard is going to be folded in half?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm confused because postcards do frequently get folded up when they're this big by the post office, but they're not on purpose intentionally folded.
I guess we're just going under the assumption they're going to fold it up because they have to get it in the mailbox.
Yeah, but they don't fold it in half. Like I actually happen to be holding a Renewal by Anderson 11 by 14 postcard in my hand right at this exact moment. And I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like they tried to fold it in thirds, but it wasn't a hard fold. So it's only bent. It's not folded. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually holding an Anderson flyer in my hand with that exact same description.
Okay, so if I set this down on my desk, which I'm doing right now, it doesn't have like hard creases in the, right?
Right.
One of them's starting to get a little creased, but it wasn't intentionally. That's just folded by the mailman. So I don't think we want to necessarily plan on this being folded any particular way. I don't know if that's going to be relevant to this conversation as we go through or not, but I feel like planning on a certain type of fold probably is not what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay, now let's get to some other topics here. I'm going to tell you some things I like about this postcard. Number one, I like that it's big. And that's about where it's going to stop.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you what I don't like about this postcard, a couple of things. First of all, are you following me on the screen here? I've got the back on here. Let me tell you just a couple of design things I don't like about this. You're using what's called impact font, which is all capitals. You've got 2 lines of it, and it's really jammed close together. In other words, it's not even normal spacing. It's actually a tighter character spacing.
Right.
And so as a result, this is really, really hard to read. A lot harder to read than you want. Okay, now that's a really easy fix. what you probably are going to want to do is you're probably going to want to allow just a little bit more room in the green area so that you can make these letters perhaps a touch taller. You're going to want to switch it to title case and to a different font. You don't want impact for your header. You only want to use impact if your headline has got maybe 3 to 7 words. But you start getting this many words and you start getting this huge block that's very difficult for people to visually break through and read. Okay? So let's just switch it over
to. What
to.
did you say you recommended?
You know, I don't particularly recommend any particular font. I like a sans serif font. Let me just take a quick look here. Now I'm going to show you. Actually, I don't need to do that. Let me just pull this over here. These are just some quick looks and feels, okay? So I'm not trying to get too granular right here, but just to give you some idea. You see that postcard on top? The insurance company wants you to go with the lowest bid. I mean, it's pretty easy to read. Forget about what it says. We're not talking about the content of these cards. I just want you to evaluate the readability.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is a sans serif font. We use title case, which means the first letter of each word is capitalized. Makes it a lot easier to read. Okay, now see here we use all capitals, but remember my rule, 3 to 7 words, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just look at a couple more just for fun. Not that one. Okay, I think this is a good example of a similar amount of words on a postcard.
Right.
Okay, but that title case makes it easier. Now, just so you know, and for the benefit of everybody on the call, the psychology behind this, or the physiology behind this, I don't know which it is, psychology or physiology or some combination, is that people don't actually read letters and words. They read shapes of words. It's what we're conditioned to do. So when you take the shape of the word and you make it all block letters like you've done, they lose their identity, so people have to slow down. And the slowdown, I mean, people obviously can sit here and read this headline, but they can't quick glance scan it and tell what it means. So it feels laborious to have to read it. This is why attorneys always use all caps in their contracts when they put in crap they don't want you to know. And no, we did not do that on our contract. Actually, we did on part of it. I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's one thing. You're suffering from the same thing here in this blue box. We've got a lot of words. Now, it's easier than the top green part, but it's still, you know, kind of a lot. Let's go back to the front. Now, let me tell you what I don't like about this the most of all. You just told me that you're going to send this to homes that are 15 years old, that are affluent, $300,000 and up. Now, I'm no expert on Colorado real estate, but I've driven through there enough to know that a $300,000 home in Colorado is a pretty nice home. It's not like a freaking awesome home, but it's a pretty nice home. True enough?
Right.
I mean, you go out to Los Angeles or San Francisco, a $300,000 home might be a piece of crap. But in Denver, Colorado Springs, that whole area, you're going to get a pretty decent home for $300,000. For $400,000, you're going to get a pretty darn nice home. For $500,000, you're living in a pretty nice place. True enough?
True.
Okay, and you're trying to sell them an Infinity by Marvin window. And there's a reason you're trying to sell them an Infinity by Marvin window, which is what?
It's a really nice window. They can afford it.
Okay, they can afford it, so that's good. We don't want to necessarily say that part, but here's what we do want to say. Hey, it's a really nice looking window. And so we want to find some way to say something along the lines of, hey, you've got a really nice looking house, so don't sully that by putting a piece of garbage window in it that looks like crap. Now, we don't want to say it like that, but that's what we want to communicate, right?
Right.
So you've got as your lead, amazing window and door sale, biggest savings in 2 years. And I'm okay with, you know, promoting a sale, but I think you can promote a sale, but meanwhile also simultaneously promote why this window is different, why this window is better. And I would position it very heavily against vinyl. Now, I saw in the back that you're positioning it also against the renewal product. Compared to vinyl, Fibrex, or wood, you'll be amazed at the difference, strength. comfort, trust, America's best windows and doors for over 100 years. I mean, this is all very hard for people to really believe or understand or put any stock in. Doesn't mean that people read that and go, well, clearly you're lying. You are not the company that people have trusted for over 100 years, but it just sounds like a platitude. Okay, whatever. I mean, who is this company? Bordner, never heard of them.
Right.
Comfort, 32% more styles and colors. We can match your home's architecture or change it altogether. You'll love the possibilities. Strength. Ultrex is the next generation of window technology. Now, I actually happen to know quite a bit about this Infinity by Marvin window because we've been working on several clients lately that have this window. And I think that there's a good case to be made for the window is strong, the window is going to last longer, and in this particular case, it's going to look better. So I feel like you're shying away from those things. Is there a particular reason?
No. No, like I said, this was designed by the Renewal by Andersen expert.
Okay,
Not
so
sure why.
now, so that brings us to an interesting conundrum, and none of this is meant to say that your Renewal by Andersen expert guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Clearly, he does know what he's talking about. He was there, and I don't know the guy you're talking about, but I know that their Denver franchise has been extraordinarily successful. So we don't want to diminish that in any way. Okay, is that okay to couch things that way?
Oh, of course.
At the same time, I'm curious as to why we focus strictly on the sale. Because if we're strictly focusing on the sale, then the reality is it doesn't really matter that you're Infinity by Marvin. It doesn't really matter that you're Renewal by Andersen. It doesn't really matter that you're Bordner. It doesn't really matter that you're anybody. You're just whoever happens to have the best sale. And so that's okay because you can cherry pick some low-hanging fruit. But I would suggest that over the course of many mailings and many months and many years, this really is not a very good strategy.
Right.
Now, I'm making an assumption there, and the assumption is that you plan on being there over the course of many months and many years, and you want
True.
people to have more of an understanding of your brand as time goes on. Because here's the reality. I mean, you always got to keep this in mind. People are going to look at this thing, and there's going to be a huge percentage of people. Well, first of all, there's a huge percentage of people that are just going to throw it away because they're not interested in Windows at all, okay? But there's also this other huge percentage of people. It's a lot smaller than the first group. But there is this group of people that looks at it, and their thought is, well, that's kind of interesting, but I really don't need Windows right now. Or that's kind of interesting, and I kind of need Windows right now, but I really don't need Windows bad enough to take action right now. Okay? And you're making an impression on those people. And this is where companies like Renewal by Andersen and companies like Pella do really, really well because they've got their very distinct look. They've got a name that people have at least heard of. They may not know a whole lot about it, but they've at least heard of it, a lot of them. And as they see it more and more, they see more and more of it, and it enhances that brand more and more every time they see it. And meanwhile, you're coming in as somebody that they probably never heard of, and you're competing strictly on price. So you may or may not be able to get a good number of leads out of this. And I would try it, see what happens. I'm not saying, hey, you can't cherry pick a lot of deals. Maybe there's a lot of deals to be had. But as time moves on, this piece really isn't going to allow you to build to anything later.
Right.
So that's my main comment. I mean, I'd like to come in here and see something a little more geared towards, we've got windows that are, better. Let me pull some stuff up here real quick. Let me just take a quick look. Where am I going to find this? Last Friday, I think, is where I'm going to find this. There we go. Okay. Sorry for the delay, but I'm just trying to find some stuff. Okay, so here's some stuff that we wrote for Infinity by Marvin Windows last week. Now, this may not be a perfect fit for exactly what you're doing, but it'll give you a feel for kind of how we approach this, okay?
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to make sure that I couch this with you properly up front. This is not exactly what you need, and this is not a perfect fit, but I do want you to get a feel and a flavor for it, okay? Is that fair enough?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so here's our headline. The last window you'll ever buy, period. Fiberglass windows beat vinyl, hands down. We only install fiberglass windows by Infinity. They look great, lower energy bills, are incredibly strong, and come with a lifetime warranty. Vinyl windows eventually leak. Fiberglass won't. Vinyl windows chalk and fade. Fiberglass won't. Vinyl windows have that plastic look. Fiberglass does not. Vinyl windows typically have limited viewing area. Fiberglass does not. Question for you, how long are you planning on living in your home? If the answer is 5 years or more, then even considering vinyl replacement windows is a terrible idea. That's because vinyl has proven itself to be a temporary solution. Even when they come with a 25 or 50-year warranty, the fact is vinyl windows begin showing signs of trouble in as little as 5 years. Here's why vinyl fails. It expands and contracts 8 times more than glass when temperatures fluctuate. That means lots of sealant and weather stripping needs to be used to cushion all that expansion and contraction of the frame. Over time, this creates leaks. True, false, or maybe? True.
True.
If you have windows that have stopped operating properly, have moisture trapped between panes, leaving a permanent fog on your windows, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is typically the main people that you're selling replacement windows to anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's why we only carry fiberglass windows. We only carry the premier brand of fiberglass, Infinity by Marvin. The difference is a material called Ultrex. It's a fiberglass material that's 8 times stronger than vinyl, but also mimics the look of wood, but needs no maintenance. Best of all, it's very stable in any temperature. And then you might throw in something about, you know, the extreme cold of Colorado coupled with the, you know, hot summers, right? It's known for its very low thermal expansion. The leaking and warping is common with vinyl simply will not happen with this material. There are plenty of other benefits to Infinity by Marvin windows. Check this out. Best looking finish. Patented mechanically bonded inline acrylic finish is up to 3 times thicker than competitive finishes. That means superior resistance to discoloration, scratching, and denting. No sloppy corners, super efficient, best warranty. There's more details there, but I'm not reading it. You're probably wondering, how much is this going to cost? It will cost a little bit more than many vinyl options, but not as much as you might think. When you factor in how much longer you can expect to have these windows last, Infinity by Marvin is a very cost-effective choice. When you also weigh 30%, up to 30% energy savings, you start to see the real value of these replacement windows. So I think there's an argument to be built for the window itself that may be interesting in a mailing piece. Now, again, I'm not saying, hey, there's your mailing piece, because that's not your mailing piece. Your thoughts?
What's that? I didn't hear the last thing you said.
I said your thoughts?
I didn't hear the thing right before that. Sorry.
Well, I said this is not your mailing piece, but it's just some ideas. I'm just looking for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't. That's one of the reasons I wanted to submit this. Is I don't really like it very much, and I design completely different pieces, and we've been using the Renewal by Anderson guys' pieces, and I just wasn't too proud of it. Didn't want to send them out too much. I don't know. We just we haven't got a lot of feedback on them. We've been doing really good at the home shows out there, but we haven't really got any feedback on the windows. We sent one campaign out at the end of the year, the beginning of the year, and then we're about to send this one out for the next 6 weeks.
Well,
but as far as I can tell, we haven't got a lot of feedback on it. I've only gotten just a couple calls out of all out of the thousands we've sent.
Well, you know, I know you know MOAM. You've been hanging around us for, gosh, at least a year, probably more now. And, you know, to us, it's all about identity and communicating how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when doing business with you. So you've got this huge 11 by 14 postcard. You've got so much room. I mean, this is like 5 acres, man. You got room for chickens. You got room for horses. You got room for some cows. You got a lot of room on this thing. So why not spend some time with some of the major selling points? You've still got room to talk about your best savings in 2 years. you've still got time to talk about why Bordner's is different and better than other companies, and get into some of the, sort of bedside manner kinds of things that you do in terms of maybe, low sales pressure, best warranties, no money down policy. I don't know what you do, but those types of things, right?
Right. Yeah, that's all fairly accurate.
So, you've got room to put stuff about why your windows are better and why your company is better, and still put the savings and the best deal in 2 years. Because, let's face it, the savings and the offers, they're going to move the needle some. Of course they are. That's okay. We're not saying get rid of that stuff. We're just saying, why not talk about some of the stuff that really sets you apart? One of the things that I didn't focus much on in that stuff I was reading a minute ago is I'd probably focus a lot on the look and feel of these windows, especially going into these higher end homes. The last thing you want going into your $300,000 to $700,000 home is a piece of plastic that looks like junk. We've all seen these windows. They look terrible. Our windows can be color matched, stained. I mean, what's the deal with them? Color matched, stained? How does it work?
Yeah, we can do it's stained on the inside. Yeah, we can do color match, but we're trying to winnow that down to only a few options to make it easier on our installers.
Do people like stained windows? Does it cost a lot more for stained windows?
It does cost a bit more. People like it, but we're just trying to streamline our processes, make it easier on production and faster, more profitable.
Well, I mean, if you charge more, then it's still more profitable, right? I mean, let me tell you why I'm asking this. I'm looking at a picture on this Renewal by Andersen postcard that I have, okay?
Okay.
And this is a Fibrex window, which is similar in nature to yours. In other words, it's not a vinyl window and it's not a wood window, right? You guys both have two different approaches to a good, strong, durable window that looks good, right? Is that fair enough?
Right. Yes.
And I'm looking at this picture, and I wish they would actually do this a little bit different, but I like this because it's a stained window and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows. What's the headline on the piece that you have say?
Oh, let's see. It says, "Don't deflate your home's value with plastic windows."
Oh, wow. Imagine that. But does it have a picture?
Yeah, the whole thing is about, they've got a really good card here. On the other side, the heading says, "If a plastic," and then it has a picture of a crappy plastic chair.
Yeah.
Doesn't belong in your living room, neither does a plastic window.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I mean, I like that approach. I'm looking at this picture of these stained windows. They look beautiful. I mean, they look gorgeous. I would love to take that window, and I'd love to show the same window, but with crappy vinyl windows, and just show what a piece of junk it looks like.
Right. That's a good idea.
But see, here's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to apologize for your windows being expensive. You just don't have to. Your attitude should be, look, if you want a piece of crap, fine, go buy it. I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, this costs more than vinyl. Of course it costs more than vinyl. What do you expect? No, it's not that much more than vinyl. It's still affordable. But come on. If you want it to look good, and you got a home that you're proud of, let's be real here. I find it interesting that you're sitting there holding a piece that's ragging on vinyl and showing the plastic chair, and yet when he comes over and develops the piece for you, it's based strictly on the sale. That doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so I don't know that we're going to necessarily rewrite this right now on the spot. I think I've given you a lot of good ideas and so forth. But
webinars made easy.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, webinars are made easy. So I would consider writing some different ones and submitting those. I mean, I don't think I'm going to sit here and rewrite them on the spot, but I think you got enough ideas and input to be able to come up with something different.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was slated to just alter this one slightly for Kansas City, but that's why I wanted to submit it to see if we needed to just redo it completely. So that's what I needed to hear.
Well, now here's the other thing that you need to hear, just to keep things real.
Yeah.
If you take the one you've got now, I don't know everything about your company, but I know that you're a little bit bigger company and the budget can accommodate a little bit more. Maybe send out a modest amount of these and document the results, and then redo another one and just test against it. I mean, you've got the rest of your life to figure out what works. Obviously, you want it to work good sooner than later, but send some out that are just strictly built on the offer. But even the one that's built on the offer, I think we could probably make the offer a little bit more interesting and exciting than just the best sale in 2 years. Well, I don't really know what that means. Save up to $2,000 off your window and door project. What does that mean? I don't really know. I don't know. I mean, it's just such a generic offer.
Right.
Hey, save $2,000 off a Camry. Are you excited? $2,000 compared to what?
Right.
Now, by contrast, I'm holding this Renewal by Andersen. Guess what their offer is? 50% off labor, plus $50 off every window, plus 0% money down and 0% interest for 2 years. Okay, that I can sink my teeth into a little bit. You've got
right.
this super generic, hey, it's on sale. That's all you're really saying. Hey, it's on sale. Well, how much is it on sale for? $2,000. Okay. Is that a lot? So we're going to kind of kick this one back to the curb and say try again. But, if you want to see what happens when you send it out, see what happens.
I think they're already slated to send it out in Colorado, so we will see what happens there, but I think I'm going to design a different one for Kansas City.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd love to look at it.
Perfect. Thanks, Rich.
All right, John, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, I was going to mute that line, but I can't find it. Okay, well, I think we're done. I think that's all we had for today. So thanks so much for participating. Appreciate everybody being on with me, and we'll be back with you, I believe, next Tuesday. We're going to do a webinar, one of our Innovation Hour calls, and we're going to discuss the innovation formula of Captain Obvious. So we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much. Bye now.